Good morning from Brunswick, Georgia, the La Quinta. I got the Tesla charger. We are at 100% state of charge. Thank you, La Quinta. And we're heading to Brunswick. I got one stop in Electrify America in about 3 hours, and I'll probably stop at a nearby Electrify America near my friend's house. So I get to his house with a decent state of charge. There aren't many charging options around his house. So that's the plan for today. A much shorter day. It's 5 hours total drive time. It's about 260 miles, I think. And we're going to make one Electrify America stop. I'll update you if anything of importance happens along the way. Thanks for joining me. I am currently on, I think it's called the Central Florida Expressway or State Route 23 South. It's a toll road, of course, in Florida, but I gotta tell you, I love it. Look at my other camera views. You can see this thing is totally empty. So I'm only on it for another 5 miles, but it's a great way to get from Jacksonville. I'm on my way over toward North Tampa area. So this is, I guess, cutting right down the center of the northern part of the state right now. But I have no idea how much the tolls are. Here we go. Let's see. Tolls, cars, 2 axles, 65 cents. Some pass, 92 cents toll by plate. So let me get the Blue Cruise happy again. Sorry about that. By the way, Blue Cruise has been amazing. I have probably done at least 70% of this trip hands-free. And, of course, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, I could probably do almost 100% hands-free. West Virginia, you got a couple of heavy turns there that Blue Cruise likes for you to have your hands on. I even use Blue Cruise through some of the construction zones in Huntington, between Huntington and Charleston. I had never done that before, and I was on ready standby on that, and it did beautifully through that. So, and we're not even on version 1.2, I don't think, in the Ford F150 Lightning. So I'm really hoping to get that 1.2, which handles lane changing and does the nudge. When you're near a semi, or it'll nudge away from the vehicle in the lane next to you. So that would be a really nice feature to have, because sometimes I will do my own little personal nudge with Blue Cruise. But love this turnpike, this toll road, State Route 23 South, coming off of I-10. I guess I'm connecting up with some Western Cross Road over here to get me on over into Tampa. So that's the update. I'll update you if anything else of interest happens, but thanks for joining me. We're near a town, I think, called Bushnell, Florida. We left Brunswick, Georgia. This is our first stop. Got 64 miles left. I know. See this? I can't ever show you what, but the predicted range that the Apple CarPlay map had me state of charge arriving here was 9% originally, and now I'm arriving here at 28%. Just to give you an idea how far off that Apple CarPlay prediction guesstimator is. So I'm going to charge up here and get me into Tarpon Springs, Florida. This should be really my last stop. I might stop one more time to top off before I get into Tarpon Springs, because there aren't many fast chargers there. So let's see how the EVgo charger goes. Well, fortunately, nothing to report. My charging has just gone extremely well. Matter of fact, the fastest charging I've ever seen. So I don't know if it's a combination of Ford changing the charging curve a little bit. All chargers, Electrify America, Circle K, Tesla, I've seen starting ramping up to the 170 kilowatts, and then pretty steady plateau around 115, 120, and certainly adding enough miles on during any food restroom break that I'm taking. So let's head to our final destination, Tarpon Springs. At this Electrify America here at Tarpon Springs Premium Outlets, I came from I think it's called the Highland, and wow, what a great move that was. I did have to wait here at this charger, but it really gives me, I think this is the first time I've gone from 10% to 80% state of charge, and I'm doing it in exactly 40 minutes. I'm adding 112 kilowatts, I think it is. I'm still pulling down 120 kilowatts. 120 kilowatts. And it was holding 165 for at least the first 15 minutes. And I'm at 79% right now, and I'm right at 40 minutes of charging. So this, in my opinion, this is maximum throughput by the Electrify America charging station and the Ford Lightning accepting everything that it's requesting. And what an amazing charging experience here. 10 to 80%, 40 minutes. I had set this charger as the destination, so Ford should have preconditioned the battery to accept the fast charge. It obviously did, because to start out and hold that 165 for as long as it did is amazing. So our journey continues here in South Florida. As you can see, beautiful sunshiny day today. It was crazy. I think they're going to have well over 2 inches of rain over the last 2 days, but the weather clears up tomorrow. So we have a much better week ahead of us, more typical sunshine Florida weather coming. Join me at Claremont, Florida. I just had a nice 50-mile bike ride today on the West Orange and Lake Shore Trail. I believe it's the Lake Shore Trail, something like that. That goes into Claremont. Beautiful Florida trails. I'm here at the Electrify America. Going to have some lunch, and it's a beautiful location. Brand new Costco, and the chargers look fantastic, but 2 out of the 6 are working. But the chargers, when I plugged in a precondition to come to this location, it's killing it. I'm in the upper 160s. I think I've seen as high as 167. So So far, the charging has been fantastic, but this would be a problem if there are 2 people here. There are no other stalls available here on a Thursday afternoon in Florida where everything's busy. Want to park at the front of Disney Hollywood Studios? Simply take your EV and ask for a charging spot in the parking lot. Good morning, this is Jeff on Saturday, February 24th, leaving the Orlando area. And today I'm using the Ford Pass route planning on my return trip back to West Virginia. So let's see how this route planning does on the journey and planning chargers, realizing it doesn't go to Circle K's. At least last time I set up a route, it was not, Circle K's were not in the Ford Pass network. So we're going to give it a try, but I've been pretty happy with the Apple route planning. It certainly needs some upgrades, some improvements in certain areas, but for the most part, it really worked wonderfully. So let's see how this Ford Pass routing works on my, I think I'm covering 590 miles today. Well, I didn't get very far. I'm only a couple miles in, and I just didn't like, I knew the direction that the Ford Pass routing was taking me was a little off, and I just didn't care for it. They had me stopping at a charger in Orlando that was really didn't seem to be well documented. There wasn't a whole lot of details on it and it looked dicey. So I got to tell you, I've canceled that Ford route planning for the trip home. It really needs to be simpler than that, and every stop that they present should be a rock solid start, not something dicey. Mine was like some parking garage and there was no information on it, but it's part of the Ford charging network. And the fact that the planning Ford Pass does not have, or the Blue Oval network does not have Circle K's in it, that's starting to become a real limiting factor here in the Southeast, where Circle K is really being pretty aggressive in putting in chargers. So I'm back to the Apple route planner. I'm very comfortable with that, and I'm not in a scenario today where I want to take any chances, and I want to get home. So we're back to the Apple Maps and the route planner there. I'll update you. It'll be a nice double review of that planning service, but until Ford Pass gets a little bit more solid and more inclusive on the Oval network, I don't think it's going to be my go-to route planner unless I can do it. Well, again, if you can do it in advance and sync the route up to the car, but then you have to spend time verifying that each charging location is optimum and it is a good spot. Well, I don't really have that concern with the Apple route planner. I can get in the truck, put in my destination, and just go. Follow the route planner to the designated charges. It tells me my expected charge at the arrival at that charger, and I'm good to go. You know, my qualms with the planner, the Apple map, is that it doesn't continue showing you the legacy, the planned routes, planned stops, planned charger stops going forward. I wish it would keep that in, and when you stop, it resets the route. And I've not found a way to keep that active, so I know that, you know, right before my next stop, I know the next stop in advance. So those are just my little qualms. Let's get to, we're going to Wytheville, Virginia today. So my most recent recommended charging stop, actually with the Apple map, was the same one that Ford Pass app was recommending. It was a Florida Public Light, FPL, Florida's public utility, and the chargers looked fine, looked like they were going to be fully capable, but the app, you had to download their app, and it looked like it was for Florida Power customers. Florida Power probably is the name of it, FPL, and I just didn't want to mess with it. So, kind of stretching myself here, I'm going back up to and stopping at Brunswick, where I stopped on the way down, and let me show you what our situation is. So when I left that, I think it's Fernandina Beach exit, I was really about 28%, but now I am stretching up to Brunswick, which is still 47 miles away, and 42 miles away, and I have 47 miles of range left. So this will be the lowest state of charge I've ever pushed the Lightning into, and let's see how it works out. I'm just doing 65 here behind semi-trucks. And I actually went to using the Ford Pass app to get me to that charger. So I apologize for going back and forth, but in this case, finding a charger was easier with the Ford Pass app because I could filter on high-speed chargers, and the Apple map does not do that on this screen as easily as the Ford Pass app. I've probably made a big critical error. I should have checked the chargers at this Brunswick, because it looks like only one is operational and it was in use. So I am fully expecting a large line of cars waiting to charge at Brunswick, because there is nothing else except for about 70 miles further north. So that was probably a big error. I should have tried to get that FPL app to work back at that charger, because I'm going to arrive here at Brunswick with about 16 to 17 miles of range left. I'll update you when I get there, but I have very low expectations. So I arrived at the Brunswick Walmart EA, Electrify America station. There's one Kia EV6 charging, and they are really just about at 80%, and there's no one waiting. So I'm gonna wait this out and see if we can make this work. It won't be too bad if this Kia EV6 leaves and then I'm next. So maybe I got lucky. Well, this is part of the problem with the EV charging traveling network now. So I arrived at that Walmart. I knew it was going to be backed up. One out of the 4 CCS fast charges was working. And now the good sign, I just gave up. The guy, I gave him until 80%. I checked back, he was at 94%. I don't know if he was staying until 100% or not. He could have been there another 30 minutes to get to 100%. If you don't know, when traveling, you charge to 80% on fast chargers unless you are getting ready to go into a desert of charging, which that's not the case here in the southeast on the I-95 corridor. Don't know why he was charging over 80%. But I came to a Stripling's general store to these charge point 62.5s, and I'm getting 67. They are shared. I think technically it should be up to 120 some kilowatts, but I'm getting 67. So I'm going to hang here. I'm having some lunch and just chilling. Actually, I think I'm going to plan on getting to the Tesla chargers there in Columbia. That would be another good stop. That's 200 miles away, so I'm just trying to get to cover 200 miles here at this Stripling's charge point 62.5 here in Brunswick. Made it to the Electrify America here in Savannah, and they are the 150 kilowatt chargers, so not really maximizing, but we're at 140 plus, and I arrived here at, I think it was a 10% state of charge, so I'm gonna take it up to, I believe, a little bit over 8. I need 195 miles to get to the Circle K charger that's in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I think that's the only charge I will need from here to Withville. That's the goal. We're gonna see if we can do that. I'm not sure if we can pull it off, but from Savannah to Rock Hill to Withville, and then that's where we're going to spend the night. We'll keep you up to date. We're back at the Tesla superchargers in Columbia. This is where the Apple Maps wanted me to stop for literally going from 31% to 55%, just to get me up to that Circle K charger, I believe. I'm going to check to see if it's updating anything there. But yeah, if you haven't watched my video, just isolating the coverage of this Tesla version 4 supercharger with the Magic Dock. I encourage you to check it out. I'll link it in the description below. And so what we're doing here is just getting to 55%, and then we'll continue our journey north on 77. I came up 321. I think it's a state route. Maybe it is US 321. That bypass from Savannah up to Columbia, a lot of small towns. It's 2-lane road, but it's so much less stressful than coming up 95 and 26. I like that route. The only little quibble I have with this charging location is it's about 1.2 miles off of I-77. But other than that, it's a really nice location. There's an amenity, a store. It's called a Lowe's. It's a grocery store. You could get food and any snacks that you need. They have a nice restroom, so it's really a good amenity stop here in Columbia. Well, if you've been following this video and this trip, you know one of the challenges I had was continuation of the trip at each stop. Well, it looks like it's hanging in there for this stop. I just stopped and I've left, went to the restroom and came back. So the car was off, but I never close Apple Maps. And now it's already picked up. It said charged to at least 50%. And then I'm going to get to my next charger with 17%. And that's the Circle K in 1 hour and 2 minutes. So really, I'm ready to go. I'm already at 52%. And I think we're ready to leave. I'm at a Circle K here in Rock Hill. They have the 360 kilowatt. It's just now ramping up. Let me see how quickly we ramp up. I know 360, the Lightning's supposed to be max at 150, but to be honest, I'm seeing pretty regular 170s and 160s. We're at 143 on this. I did have this selected as a destination. We're at 154. And 158. So it looks like we're going to ramp up here, probably in the 160s near 170. I'm still at the Circle K here in Rock Hill. I have to tell you, I just had a delicious rubbery chicken sandwich I microwaved myself. If Sheetz ever gets the desire to open up more down here in the southeast, they are going to kill the competition. They are going to kill Circle K with their made-to-order food menus. One thing I wanted to share with you is on the app, the route planning, I have used the Ford Pass app a little bit, but I have to tell you, I've already developed just a strong preference for the Apple Maps integrated with the Lightning. If your car is not integrated with it, then it's certainly not going to be as useful. But one thing I like about it is I can text, or through the Maps app, I can notify other people of my ETA. So I can keep them up to date as to how my travels are going throughout the day, and that's a nice feature. Maybe the Ford Pass can do that, but I'm not aware of how to do that with the Ford Pass app. So that's definitely one big check mark. As you can tell, I'm really favoring the Apple Map. Not that it's perfect, but it does a lot very well, and I think it is better than the Ford Pass right now. I'm here at another Circle K in Dobson. The Apple Map wanted me to charge one more time. We're getting ready to climb. If you've ever driven on 77, it's the plateau, the Virginia plateau that drops down into North Carolina. So I'm getting ready to climb a fair amount of elevation, and I was right on the edge of being able to get to the hotel with the state of charge that I had. So this is a quick 10% add here, right off the interstate. And we're getting 143 kilowatts on this 180 kilowatt Circle K charger. And one thing I wanted to point out, if you remember, I was averaging 2.2 for the whole trip. And I was mainly 2.0 miles per kilowatt hour coming down through the elevation of West Virginia. It was cold. And then once I started to hit the warm air in the south and the flatter terrain, I actually started averaging 2.2 through the trip. I just clicked over about mile 2,000 for the total trip, and I'm pulling back down to 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. We're below freezing here, and we're starting to get some bumpy terrain. So it's amazing how quickly it starts to impact my total 2,000 mile trip when the cold air hits and the elevation starts to hit. So that's another reason why I didn't want to take a chance in getting into Wytheville really on fumes, if you will. And so I wanted to stop here and get this quick charge. And we'll get to the hotel and we'll start the final leg of the trip tomorrow. Apple Maps wants me to stop and charge before I get home. Now, you can see there, the charge at arrival at the charger is expected to be 29%. When I left Wytheville this morning, that was 12%. So that's the overestimation now that the app can give. I have 63 miles of estimated range left, and I'm about 40 miles from home. So we want to see what the app does when I blow by this exit up here where the charger is. So let's just see how the app reacts. It wants me to get off here in 0.6 miles. I'm on hands-free driving, and that means it's lane keep assist. It also means it's adaptive cruise control. So let's see what the old Apple Maps does. Here's the exit. And I'm curious to see if it readjusts or tries to find another charger, which there are very few. And the charger that they wanted me to stop at is up there at that Chevy. And the most recent plug share had some very dicey reviews on it. I reviewed it back in January. I'm not sure what's happening. It looks like it froze up. Let's see here. Come on. Do something. It looks like the app froze. Let me look into this. Well, it simply won't update while I'm recording a video because it's Apple CarPlay. But they have me stopping up here somewhere with within 5 miles. And I know there's no charger. It'd have to be a level 2 charger at a dealership. So I'm not going to charge that. I'm actually going to take you to what I think is a brand new charger that opened. I'm very excited about this. Stick with me here. I'll show you what we're talking about. Okay, I did have to have a chuckle. I drilled down and zoomed in on the map and wanted to see where they were taking me on that charger. They wanted me to do a U-turn or do a loop at the next exit and go back to that charger. So come on, Apple. They should see I've got plenty of miles to get to my final destination, but they don't like the state of charge I'm going to be arriving at that destination with. Okay, this is good. They finally give me an option here to remove the stop. You have enough battery to reach your destination. Okay, great job, Apple Maps. Great job. That's good to see. Very happy with the performance of the truck. Let me show you where we are and give you some final thoughts on the total trip. But trip 2 is for the entire duration of the trip. That would be, let me show you this. That's 2,258 miles. That was 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. And this is the consumption. The exterior temperature was only 2% for accessories, 92% efficiency on driving, and only 4% for climate use. I ended my trip here at a charger that we've been waiting to become operational, and I'm hoping those plastic bags there are not an indication of the operation. It looks like the screen is on, and on PlugShare, I know the fellow that runs this. This is at the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and it's pretty close. It's really close to my church, which is just up the road. So I wanted to stop here. I'm going to see if I can grab a quick charge. I'm going to do a video on that charge if it's open. But some quick summary thoughts on the trip to Florida from Huntington, West Virginia in the F-150 Lightning. I made one charging mistake. Every other charge felt natural. It felt like it was, what you would take in a normal break time. I did go out of my way slightly, 1.2 miles off the interstate, to get to those superchargers of Tesla because I wanted to see how the Magic Dock worked with the truck. And all charging sessions using the Apple Maps to help precondition the battery, all charging sessions were really outstanding. 170 kilowatts, 160 plus kilowatts for at least 10-15 minutes, and then ramps around 130, and the high 1-teens to maintain all the way through to 80%. So easily 30 minutes to, I think 30 minutes was a pretty standard 10 to 80%. And I had one 40-minute 10 to 80%, but that was at a 150 kilowatt Electrify America where I wasn't getting any more than 115, 120. But so the truck performed extremely well. The charging was amazing. The Blue Cruise, it's not perfect, but I can't tell you, I would say easily 75% of the driving I did with no hands on the steering wheel, and that results in a very relaxed and non-fatiguing drive time. Sorry about the wind, hope it's not hitting our microphone too hard. But this is Blue Cruise 1.1 I believe. 1.2 is out there on the Mach-E, and we're looking forward to getting that. That gives you lane change, turn signal, and I'm not sure if it takes exit off of interstates or not. This doesn't right now, but Blue Cruise was fantastic. The truck's amazing. I'm hauling a bike. You can't even see it. I mean, I got a bike in here. I got my golf clubs in the back. I got my camera gear in the front. So it's just to do all of that and some luggage, to do all of that in a truck that doesn't look like an EV. Where this came from. But yeah, what a great experience. The truck, thank you, Ford. Great EV. I look forward to the next improvements that y'all make on the over-the-air updates. I would really like to have the ability to go to camping mode, to turn off all the lights and keep them off for my mountain trips. But for the Florida trip, this was awesome. And thank you for joining me for this. I hope you subscribed. I hope you like the content. There's a lot more coming. I'm hoping to get a ride in the Honda Prologue here from my local dealer. We are big Honda legacy people, so I'm hoping to take the Prologue out to see how it works. But my next video will probably be, hopefully, this charger. Hopefully it'll work here in just a few minutes. So I had viewers ask, Jeff, what was the cost? How often did you charge? How does it compare to a nice vehicle? And these are the stats. You can see here that I do everything from charging at home to start the trip. That was 100 kilowatts, and I get that from Appalachian Power as my utility, and it's about 15 cents a kilowatt hour. What's cool about this is I've done multiple vendors. Blink, Circle K, Electrify America, Tesla, La Quinta Destination. I charged at my friend's house in Tarpon Springs. a small charge. What was that, 15 kilowatts. I used ChargePoint and Circle K again. And what I've done, you can see the variety of prices per kilowatt hour. You can see how the cost can vary. And I also have an asterisk by Electrify America. So it's important to remember my footnote down here that I purchased a monthly subscription to Electrify America. It was $7 for the month, and that brought my total cost per kilowatt hour down. And that really made Electrify America the least expensive option during the charging. I actually had that one charging session, whereas that Savannah, Georgia on 223 Electrify America, I got 91.6 kilowatts for $7.45. That worked out to 8 cents per kilowatt hour. I'm not sure what Electrify America was doing there. I know they can vary things. Another point is Tesla can do surge pricing, charge you higher during peak charge times, lower rates per kilowatt hour at off times. So there's a lot of variability there. And I'm going to do a video just focused on that. But here's the total cost per mile. 2,258 miles. I spent a total of $315.93. That works out to 14 cents per mile. It's actually a lot more competitive with gas and ICE pricing than I thought it would be. But you'd have to determine what price per gallon you want to use as the baseline there. But it's certainly cheaper if you charge at home and don't have to rely on public charging networks. So that sums up the trip. It's a little bit more beyond just the cost per kilowatt hour. It's really more of an adventure, an electric vehicle. There are a lot of things I learned from this trip. I think it can make any future long distance trips I do a lot more efficient. But overall, the F-150 Lightning is an amazing road tripping vehicle. Such a pleasure. The Blue Cruise, the smooth ride, the reliable charging and steady charge curve that it gives you. So it's overall a great experience. Thanks for sticking with me on this presentation. I hope you picked something out from it, and I hope you subscribe. We have a lot more material to come. And until next time, charge on.